So this is the Kurzweil K2500xs. That's the weighted key and sampler option model. I've been taking it apart for a little while here. It's not too hard to figure out. I will try to link to a copy of the manual, but there wasn't a lot of information about this thing on YouTube. Plenty of it in text online. I just wanted to kind of consolidate what I've figured out here. That squeaking sound is Speck. He's a dog. But yeah, I took this thing apart. The floppy drive is not working. Well, it was not working. It's got a banged up mod wheel that I'll show you in a little while. It only has it only detects 3 modules of RAM, and if you look down here, there are apparently 6. And this thing's only supposed to have 4 slots, so I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to have to read into that. And lastly, 2 of the keys, which I've taken off. Well, I've taken off some of the wrong ones here, but you'll understand in a minute why. The 2 of the keys have no weight to them, or rather no hammer action. And I figured out why, so I'll get to that shortly. The power supply is great. I replaced the batteries. I got this for $250 from a guy on Craigslist. I'll try to post his link. He's got a band. He's an important musician. I'm just a guy who likes to fix things. So, yeah, let's dive into this. First of all, this thing has clearly taken some hard knocks. There are chips all over the case. There's like missing metal. But it's okay, because Kurzweils are built like military hardware. Firstly, this was out of its socket. This is the floppy disk ribbon cable. So that's back in now. The floppy disk can read and write as long as I put the right kind of disk in. I don't know what's going on with that though. Certain disks don't work. So if we come down here, I'm running out of power cable on my phone. Sometimes I forget to charge it, and then I have to do stupid things like this. So you can't even see in here. And maybe I can get... Hold on a second. This is the mod wheel side. I hope I'm not blocking any microphones. You'll see the switch, or the mod wheel, not the pitch bend wheel, over here. It's really crunchy. It's pressed up against something. And it actually turns out that over here is the reason why that key was not hammer action. Because if you go down here, first what you'll see is that the metal tab that holds up the mod wheel is bent. And you'll also see, well, maybe you will, deep in there, the axle that all the hammers ride on has just been jolted out of place. Like somebody just took this thing, stood it up on end, and smashed it down like some kind of rail spike driver. I don't know what do you do? What kind of poles do you smash on the ground? I don't know. But yeah, it's shaken loose. It looks like the original keyboard was made in 2 parts, or rather there are 2 axles in it to support all the hammers. And since this is roughly the midway point, this is where the stuff started disconnecting. You can see a clearer view of that axle right over here. This thing. So this one's in place. It's mostly where it's supposed to be. The aftertouch ribbon, which you can see one end of here was unplugged before. Plug that back in, so that should be a great bonus to this thing. Power supply looks to be in good shape. I haven't had any spontaneous failures with that, even though I've heard there's capacitor issues. The screen is in excellent condition. No real wear on the LCD or on the EL backlight. So yeah, for those who haven't watched Dexter's video where he takes a similar model apart, this is the EL power supply. And you see it going into the screen back here. So I'm going to try to put this shaft back in place and maybe fix the mod wheel, and I'll make a video of that. Right, and now with the mod and pitch section off, you can see 2 of the critical failures here. First of all, these are the aftertouch ribbons. There's 2 of them in this thing, which is unusual, I think. It must have like differential sensing on that, which is more than most do. You can see the inner workings of the keys from a different angle here. So these are the hammers, You see, they kind of sweep up and hit something in there. I don't know. But this is all the extra axle that's come out. So I'm thinking I'm just going to tap this with a hammer very gently, and maybe with some kind of damper like a piece of wood. See if I can push that back in. But I have to do it with the other parts already aligned in their slots. So I need to put this hammer back, take this hammer out and realign it, because it's not really in there. But yeah, that's where I am. Oh yeah, and so the other critical failure that you can really see now is that. Look how far bent that pot is. I mean, this should all be flat, and it's off by around 10 to 15 degrees. Yeah, we'll get to that. I'm gonna fix this axle first because this key has been bothering me. Alright, and thanks to the trusty mallet, which of course is the #1 tool for fixing everything, the axle's back in place. You see it's lying pretty flat with this. I put one key back just to test it, and it does in fact work. There's a couple of little clips missing from that would normally hold the axle up, but I mean there's a clip on every single key, actually 2 clips for every key, so it's not a big deal that one side of one is missing. You can actually see these are the velocity sensing pads. There's not a lot that's changed with those in the last 35 years, but now they're made out of rubber instead of gold. So I'm going to go ahead and put this key back, and for the hell of it I'll show you how that goes, even though you could easily look up a video. You just kind of lay it down, make sure the little plastic rocker in the back lines up with the hole, and press it down, and now they're both seated. And then this will be difficult to do with one hand. I'm using a soldering iron just because it happened to be the right shape to do this, but the professionals will tell you to use something wooden or plastic. I'm not a professional. So you're going to stick it in and push down to stretch it out a little bit so it stretches over a little spring hook, and then you let go. It would appear, oh, there we go, that's it. So now, that's it, it's weighted again. This one isn't yet, but I'm only going to do that once. And 1 minute later, 3 working keys. Well, 88 working keys actually, but you know, it's the victories that count. Another 5 minutes, another thing fixed. So this was probably not a great way to apply this force, but there's no real way to take this thing apart without damaging it. In my case, just it looks like stuff is glued and bolted in here in ways I can't reach. So here, let me try to focus here. There we go. So what I did, and this is going to be hard to show with one hand, is I put a bolt here. I wish I had just like a big metal slug. I would normally have that kind of stuff in a workshop, but I don't. I don't have a workshop here. I put it here, and alternately slammed it with the mallet, because again, mallets are the ultimate tool, and you can use them to fix literally anything. And now it works. So it's not perfectly straight, but it's not stuck to the wall anymore, and I don't really want to go any further, because if I accidentally slip, I'm going to chip off parts of the circuit board, and I'd rather not take that risk. You can see well, maybe you can, the little circular scrapes and dents that this thing left. I might hit it a few more times. I'd like this wheel to be straight. But, you know, now that I'm saying that, it's really not a big deal. So yeah, those are my 3 problems with this thing. Broken floppy, broken mod wheel, 2 broken keys. We'll see, I'm going to read up on the manual, see what it says about flash or RAM, and I will see if I can get new RAM. I plan to add a SCSI internal SD card to this thing at some point, so I'm going to be using, I don't remember his name, Michael something from Australia's SCSI 2 SD project, so I'll get an 8 GB SDHC and I will be able to format that into 4 2 GB partitions, actually all within the Kurzweil, and yeah, so 8 GB of storage space. I'll never really need the floppy again, but that's it's out of stock right now, so it's probably a month and $100 away. So that's, I gotta say, after watching Dexter's video, this was a pretty daunting task, but then I opened it up and this is just like it's like a really nicely spread out, well organized desktop PC with keys. So yeah, anybody looking at these online, it's an excellent buy. I'll probably try to do a review of this 1996 technology at some point in the future, but it's got a lot of cool features. It's a lot like working in Audacity. So we'll come back to that when I have more RAM. See you next time. Thanks for watching.